Hey friends, welcome back to another video. I'm not going to promise this as a reading vlog just because I've been feeling a little slumpy, which you would have seen in recent videos, I think, and I've been knitting a lot. But maybe this is going to be an audiobook and knitting video. Maybe I'll pick up a physical book, who knows? But sometimes I get in my head about I can't finish a vlog until I finish 2 books, and no one will watch it if I'm not completing reads and giving reviews, which I don't think that's really true. And also I don't know, that puts me off doing all of this, which is kind of a waste. And I've already been feeling a bit demotivated with YouTube recently, just boring content creator stuff which you don't care about, but my views have been terrible. I feel like I'm getting no engagement, and I'm like, is this actually what I want to be doing? But I have been enjoying knitting, and I only have one friend in my life to talk to about knitting. Actually, I kind of have 2 now, but yeah, I know lots of you guys like to knit and lots of you guys are at home. Definitely, if you're a chronic illness girly, I am or have been living the October slide so badly. Some of my symptoms have been out of control. I'm also in some kind of international medical bureaucracy, out of some of my medication that now a friend of a friend is bringing over from England, and it's a whole thing, and I just feel tired by life. But I do feel weirdly more content than usual. I spent the first half of this year completely ignoring my body, trying to work a pretty full-time job and just burning myself out. And then since taking a break in the summer, going back to freelancing full-time, feeling I can actually take control, and realizing okay, this is a significantly long flare, you can take a break. I've had this real sense of relief, and it's such a privilege to be able to drop your hours at work and have all of those different things, because like most of us, we all got to pay rent and we all got to get by. But thankfully right now I feel able to do a bit less. Tom's coming to end his PhD. Life is really busy, but I feel more at peace than I have done all of this year, even though I feel probably the most unwell I've felt in a good few months. I think it's just that lack of external pressure and that ability to find contentment just from doing the smallest thing in a day, oh, I managed to knit for 20 minutes, or I managed to wash my hair. And these aren't things I was able to even take time to feel gratitude about when I was so just in zombie mode from trying to get up for a 9 to 5. So yeah, I guess that's all to say. I'm not very well, but life is okay, and I'm finding so much joy in knitting, and hopefully we'll find joy in reading again soon too. Firstly, I want to start the yarn haul because I've been in a real knitting accessory mood. So I picked up some more yarn. You saw in last video, I finished that baby jumper for my friend, and I'm going to make another one. So maybe we'll start with that. So I want to try out some new yarns to work with, and as lots of people do, trying out new yarns is a really good thing to do with accessories, because you're not making as big of a commitment, and you can test the fibers a bit more and feel I'm not super sensitive, although one yarn I got in this haul made me realize maybe I am a bit sensitive, at least to what I want to work with. Anyway, I decided to get some Drops Daisy, which is not superwash merino, because I said in the last video that I wasn't super happy with the final fabric after blocking of the jumper I made, the toddler jumper. But I know this means that my friend will have to wash it separately, but even if she shrinks it, it's more about the process. So I'm going to make the Holger sweater from Petite Knit. I'll try and put a photo here. It's a super popular kids jumper, the stripes, the different coloured arms, and the different coloured cuff. So we're going for a classic white and navy blue. This is Drops Daisy, did I say that? Today's the first time I branched out from buying drops really for anything, because it's the most budget friendly, has the biggest colour range, it's easy to access here in the Netherlands online, and I don't have £100 to drop on yarn for a jumper. So I really like the feel of this so far. I got navy blue and white for the main body stripe, and then we're going to do this sage green. It's looking more grey on camera, but it is more green. Sage green arms, and then I really liked this butter yellow for the collar and the cuffs, which I think is a nice pop of colour, but it's not as bold as the other jumper I've made her. So I think she'll like that a lot. I just got 2 balls of the white and the rest one, so I don't know if I'm going to run out, but I was like having a hard time figuring out the maths on this, but so many people have knit this jumper in Daisy, so I think it will be fine. And because it's commercially dyed, like you don't really need to worry about dye loss super badly. So I picked up that. And then for stepping outside of drops, I got 3 balls of Sanascan Pure Gint for the first time. And this is what made me think like, okay, maybe I am a bit sensitive, because to me this feels really quite toothy and like a little dry, which isn't what I was expecting maybe, but I didn't know this is different to Sunday by Sanascan, which lots of people talk about. But yeah, I don't know if, I think I could tolerate this on my skin, to be honest, and the more I've knit with it, the more I feel like, okay, yeah, it's fine. But when I first got it, I was quite surprised, I guess. So this is colour 4628, and I got it, I then also got Drops Kid Silk in 13, which is a bit of a brighter pink. This is like not super a colour, I wear a lot of pink, to be honest, but this isn't a pink I wear a lot. It's also not coming out that accurate on camera. It's like an almost purple pink, but in like a warm way. And then this is more like bubblegum. But together they make a really lovely fabric, which I can show you because I've knit this in like 3 days. It needs blocking, as you can tell, because it is very rolled up right now. But I made another triangle scarf, as you can see. So it's just one of those ones, I don't want to knock my microphone, but you wear it like that and tie it around, and then it goes down the back, a bit more than like a Sophie scarf. Like I said, it needs a good block. This is a really basic pattern. It's like more of a rounded, it's not like a full point at the end, because you do 2 rows and then you start decreasing for the other side, but I don't hate it. And I knit this on 4.5mm needles, and the fabric is kind of a little dense, but in a way that I think is going to be really warm. And I really do like the mohair halo. It does add a lot. So, because I'm not mad on adding mohair to everything just because it increases the price of your knitting so much more. So I have 2 strands, obviously. And this used exactly 1 ball of Kid Silk and 2 balls of Sanascan. So that's awkward. I don't know. I should preface this whole thing by I ordered this at 4 in the morning while I was having my nightly insomnia. So now I have 2 balls of Kid Silk left and a ball of Sanascan. So I could make a Sophie scarf, or I could try and make a hat if I got another Sanascan. I'll see, because this isn't like a super popular colour, but I think I could knit it into a hat for a friend, like with a beige stripe or something. So we'll see. But anyway, that's the first thing I made, which I'm going to put on the blocking mats after I finish talking to you. Then I bought 2 balls of Drops Air, again, because this was 4 in the morning. This isn't the colour I actually wanted, because I already have a bonnet in this colour. I wanted to make a basic blue beanie, but now I have this in colour 37. This isn't exactly what I wanted. It's like a very bright, not cold, almost cobalt, slightly lighter than cobalt blue. But I think I'm going to dig through my stash, because I think I knit in Drops Air all the time, so I think I have some leftovers and I could stripe something up as a gift. So that was a bit of a flop. But then I tried for the first time BC Garn's Semila Melange. This I really like. It has real colour depth to it. Like, it's not variegated in any way, or sort of, I don't know, I'm not mad on like the hand-dyed look and like the real sort of, I like commercially dyed yarn. Basically, I like having a simple colour. Like, I like my knits basic because that's what I wear. But I really like this one. Is like my perfect tonal, I guess. And I really have been looking at this green for ages, being like, what am I going to use this for? So I decided, this, by the way, is in colour 17. So I've got 2 of these. And then what I really love, which feels even softer than the green, is colour 1. It's a off-white with very, very gentle grey specks. I wouldn't even call them tweeds, just like to give it a little something, which I would love to knit a whole jumper in this, actually, now I have it. The only thing is I have to wind these up, obviously, because they're hanks. And I also really like the navy blue, which is the same, has slightly pale tweedy flecks in it, and that's number 11. I bought more of the white, 2 of the green and 1 of the navy, because I plan to make a hood scarf combo. So basically there's this pattern that just got released by Ava P, her name is online. I really love it, but I don't crochet, have no plans to crochet, and also like I don't think granny square as an aesthetic really suits my wardrobe. But I love the idea of the hood with the scarf attached. So I was thinking if I could knit one, basically like a square hood with stripes, big chunky white and green stripes with thin navy bands around it. I'll put an inspo picture of the color scheme kind of vibes and the stripe pattern. I need to plan out the construction. I really don't think it's going to be that hard. It's basically just like 2 long rectangles and then seam it and then have the scarf bit attached. So I don't know if this is enough yarn for that, because I really don't know if I'm going to hold it double. I quite like a chunky scarf, so I feel like I might, but I really just wanted to see the yarn in person first. This was a really good price as well. By the way, I ordered all my yarn in Netherlands on, is it called Linda Hobby? I'm sure you know it, but that has the best selection and does quite good sales and really fast shipping. So yeah, that is probably what I'm going to work on in this video, I think. Or maybe I'm going to work on the Holger sweater. Maybe both, we'll see. But first I have to finish a balaclava for a friend that I've been putting off because I need to frog the I-cord of it. So I'm not letting myself start anything until I do that. But then I'm coming for this, I think. In terms of reading, I'm not reading a physical book right now, but I am listening to Opus on audio, which I've been so excited about since I put it in a radar video. I mentioned it, I think, some other places as well. This is a story it's an investigative journalism book about Opus Dei, which is a sect inside of the Catholic Church that was linked to the downfall of Bank Popular, which is like a big Spanish bank institution that these members of this Catholic sect were very high up in and essentially were skimming money off the top of for the last however many years, which led to the bank's collapse. So that's how our author discovers the story, because he's a financial writer and journalist, and he starts looking at that and then digs deeper into this cult-like group that has about 9,000 members across Europe, the UK and America, and it essentially entraps young people, trains them up, and then puts them out into various industries where they can work, particularly like in recent years in American politics, where they can work to help re-Christianize the world. And it's been a lot of the Opus Dei money and the Bank Popular money has been linked to the overturning of Roe versus Wade, and just if you read Jesus and John Wayne, white Christian nationalism, like all of those voting blocks. So yeah, I'm really, really excited. I just started this morning. And I think it's going to be great knitting, listening. So yeah, good to chat, good to be back. Tom's away at a work conference today and tomorrow, so probably why I'm feeling very chatty, because I'm on my ones. I've got to do a bit for Patreon this afternoon, and then I will start sketching out my plans for my hoodie, snuddy. I can't remember what the first designer's calling it, a scoodie, but I don't know what the sk comes from. Anyway, I'll let you know how I get on. Hey friends, it is Saturday, another week has gone by. I think the last time I spoke to you I was showing you the yarn, so I just wanted to catch up. It's a beautiful day after a few really crappy days where I definitely haven't got out of bed, but today I did, and I put on some makeup, because, sorry if you can see the washing behind me because I'm also behind on chores, because we have some friends coming over for lunch. They moved out of Amsterdam into Utrecht, like one city over, a few months back now, so we try and keep like a standing date in the diary to hang out, just because it's like a little less convenient for everyone that now further apart. But we love them. And I love a daytime hangout with your friends. There's nothing better on the weekend, like 12 till 5, perfect. So Tom's in the kitchen, we roasted some veg this morning. I'm gonna make a soup with some salad, potatoes, a nice fresh baguette, and that will be nice. And then tonight I will be watching Strictly Come Dancing. If you are a Strictly gal, guy, he, she, they, tell me in the comments who you're voting for this year, who you're loving. And I don't want to hear your Strictly slander. If you don't like Strictly Come Dancing, which if you're not from the UK, Strictly Come Dancing is like Dancing with the Stars. Is that the US name? It's like a celebrity dancing, ballroom dancing, not just ballroom, but a celebrity talent competition with dancing. And I used to watch it as a child religiously with my grandma. My grandma passed away a few years ago and I wasn't watching it at the time, but I got back into it last winter. A couple of my friends in the UK were watching it and it became like such a lovely ritualistic activity to watch it and talk to them about it every week. And yeah, it just brings me so much joy. And I will literally take anything, any grain of joy I can find in the winter months. And Strictly Come Dancing keeps me going, at least until Christmas. So in case you wondered, my favourites are Montel and Jojo, because Jojo is, I think, my favourite professional. I really like JB and Amy, JB from JLS, such a throwback. And I love Chris, the comedian. We've got 2 disabled competitors this year, Chris, who's blind, and Tasha, who is deaf. And I love Chris so much, he's so funny, and can he move? Like, he is so good. So anyway, I'm sure lots of you didn't come here for Strictly Chat. Book-wise, this week I read The Breakdown by Kathy Sweeney. You would have seen me haul this recently. I was so glad to put it on and off my TBR so quickly. This is a book about our narrator who makes her way from Dublin to rural Wales one rainy Irish morning, abandoning her family, her 2 pretty much grown-up kids, but who still live at home, and her husband, and her job as an art teacher, to just get away from it all, because like, fuck man children, fuck emotional labour, fuck organising your household when no one says thank you. She just packs it all in. And I really liked this actually. It wasn't profound in any way or making any kind of statements I haven't read before about women on the verge, and particularly women. I guess I like that this was like a woman in her midlife as opposed to like a lost woman in her 20s. This was very much like not necessarily running away from your responsibilities, but like actively saying no more, I cannot take it. I don't know what that noise was. That's creepy. And so yeah, I liked it. Like I say, it wasn't that profound, but easy to read. I also really enjoyed these very minute details of her journey that she takes, because she basically drives from Dublin to the ferry port, takes the ferry from like Ireland to the UK, and then it's like this very long-winded an exposition of poor UK and Irish transport, I would say. But she really sort of takes us through people she sees, food that she eats. Like it's very specific and like describing the chairs on the ferry and the kind of seat that she sat in to take a nap. And like, I don't know, I really liked that part of it. But I wouldn't say it's described as one of the most original writers. I wouldn't say I found this particularly original, but that didn't take away from my enjoyment of it. Like I say, I'm really still trying to get myself back in the habit of reading after not reading very much in previous months. So that was a win for me. Then I'm almost done. I think I have like 2 hours left of Opus, and this is so good. So good. This it like hits my sweet spot for non-fiction. The narration's really good as well, but this is about the Opus Dei, the sect inside of the Catholic Church, and we're getting down to the juicy bits now. Like Pope Francis has come into control. He's investigating. We're talking about the fraud, talking about the numeraries and the way that they have got their hands into American politics, particularly around like gay marriage and reproductive rights, and how the Catholic Church, this sect inside the Catholic Church, which one can assume, you know, is approved by the Catholic Church and is part of the system, is funding campaigns by private companies and right-wing American politicians to do things like stop gay marriage bills and abortion rights. And now we're getting into how Opus Dei is in some kind of convoluted way very closely connected to the first Trump campaign. really, really enjoying all of that connection. And then the other bit that really sparked so many memories for me, which I didn't even realise, that Dan Brown, The Da Vinci Code. I was a young-ish child when this book came out, but I have a really vivid memory of my older cousins. When I was younger, we used to go on these big family trips. My mum comes from a huge family, Catholic actually, and we used to take these trips, summer holidays, and it would be like 5 or 6 cars in convoy. This is pre-Google Maps, pre-smartphone, and we'd be driving around French or Spanish roundabouts several times because Uncle Jim got lost on the previous toll. Anyway, we used to go on these big trips. Me and my brother are the youngest, bar one, of all of our cousins, and there's loads of them. Like, people have like 3, 4, 5 children. And I had such a vivid memory of my oldest cousin reading The Da Vinci Code on holiday, and her boyfriend reading it at the same time, and me asking them loads of questions about it. I didn't realise that the Da Vinci Code, which I've never read, that wasn't the book of my time, that is based so much on Opus Dei and on the machinations of the secretive sects inside the Catholic Church, and that really blew my mind. And they talked about like the PR campaign they had to do and how bad press it was, and how they had to, how that was like the first crack, I guess, in Opus Dei being revealed to the general public. So really enjoyed that tidbit. And yeah, it's just maybe not everyone's kind of non-fiction, but definitely mine. And then I am also reading right now on my Kobo, this is my middle of the night read, American Fever. It's a coming of age story about a young girl from Pakistan who goes to America on the last year of high school on like a 1-year exchange, and she gets put up in this small industrious town outside of Portland, like in Oregon, basically in the Oregon countryside, and she's like the only brown person there bar the other exchange student. It's really funny and witty actually, but at the core of it, it's actually a story about TB, because our main character is diagnosed with that while she's living with her host family, who is a single mum and a daughter her own age. So it's like some really interesting cross-cultural conversations going on about family, about duty, about class, like the crossover between class in different cultures. So I am liking it again. Not that original, but funny actually. And I don't find books funny that often, so for that I'm enjoying it. And then, do you want to see what I'm knitting? If the answer is no, then I'm sorry. But you saw that yarn I showed you. I don't know how I'm going to do this. The BC Garns one that I rolled up. So this, I'm not going to put it on. It smells so woolly. I knit up the hood section of my hood scarf combo. It's got a little pointy top. It's going to be like a little pixie hood. I knit that up and then I seamed it together at the back. Do the seams match? No, but I kind of am really into it. I really like how it's not too clean cut. I'm going to probably put an I-cord trim on it. And then last night I did some more work on the scarf section, excuse me, which will then be connected, if you can imagine, round like this. It is terrible. And the scarf will go all the way around. The thing I realised, this has been through a lot of different initiation stages, because when I was knitting it, I kind of was like, oh, maybe I don't want the hood, like how it's going to chicken out. But then I realised this doesn't make that good of a scarf, because it's knit flat, and when you knit stripes flat, the other side, like it's not that pretty looking. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to commit to the hood. Now I'm glad I did, because I think it's gonna look pretty sick actually. But the scarf portion of the hood, I am not carrying my colours up the side, because I just think that's not going to look that neat. So I have a bazillion and one ends to weave in, as you can see. But I've been trying to weave as I go, like taking breaks when my hands are bad, and then doing the weaving in instead, because every stripe repeat gives me 9 ends to weave in. 9? 8. So that's kind of a lot, but it's a nice evening project. And then I'm making a jumper. I can show you. This is out of 2 strands of Drops Air that I got earlier this year. I think I got it for Christmas actually from Tom's parents. Let me show you it. That is, oh, it's pretty basic, obviously it doesn't have the neck on it yet. I've split it for sleeves and I'm just working through the body. This makes a really lovely squishy fabric. It's knit on 8mm needles, which really surprised me because when I've knit 2 strands of air before, I've always knit it on 6.5. I've made accessories, so I'm surprised by this. I got Tom to try it on. This is just a basic raglan. I wouldn't recommend the pattern at all. It only comes in 3 sizes and it's not clear. It's like meant to be a beginner pattern, which like, I don't know, I've made jumpers before, so I don't necessarily need all the steps, but I still got a bit muddled because it just was really unclear, and I feel like if you were trying to knit something for the first time, this would be really shit. So I definitely wouldn't recommend it, to be honest, and I'm not really going to follow it actually because it has no sleeve decreases, and I think Tom will want those. I've gone back and forth about if this is for him or this for me. I mean, it's probably for both of us, but there's certain elements that if I was making it just for me, I probably would do like a more bell type sleeve, but he wouldn't really enjoy that, like under jackets and stuff. So it's been really fun to knit. The bonnet that I showed you of my friend, this little girl I made, arrived in England, and she sent me the cutest picture of her wearing it, which I'm not going to put here because she doesn't need to be in the vlog, but I'm excited for her to wear that. And then I finished the balaclava I've been trying to finish for ages for another friend, and I sent that off. So I feel like these are actually the only 2 projects on my needles, bar a spring cardigan that's in hibernation, but these really are the only 2 right now, which feels so good. After I've done these, I'm going to make one more baby jumper, which I'll show you probably in another vlog. And then I might start on a more ambitious cardigan. I really want to dupe the Suzanne one that everyone's wearing, like the brioche stitch. That's kind of on my radar, but I definitely am not in the business of spending a lot of money on yarn right now. We are on a extreme budget cut in this household. No frivolous extras right now because we're saving for Christmas. We're going on a trip. So we actually do have most of our money aside, but in my head when I'm like buying stuff now, I'm like, I could buy this now, or I could be waiting until we're away and then I can pick something nice. Do you know what I mean? So that's a good motivator. Yeah, that's all I have to update you on. I think I'll get back to you hopefully when I pick a new physical fiction book to read and when I finish Opus. It's been a while since I've picked up the camera, but I wanted to sign off this video. We're going to have to tolerate the bad quality and the terrible lighting because we are now in winter. Although I don't know what officially the date of winter starts, but it feels like winter because it's 5 p.m. on a Friday night and it's definitely dusky. And I've only now got the energy after work to tell you about what I've been reading. I finished Opus, which was the main thing I was reading in this video alongside Breakdown, and I really, really enjoyed it. Highly recommend the audiobook if you're fascinated by cults, sects, religiosity, high control groups, and just sort of like adjacent to Patrick Radden Keefe type writing of those inner circle, insider scoop type books. This was fascinating. And then we also went to watch Conclave recently, and I feel like these 2 go hand in hand. I loved Conclave, except for the final 5 minutes. I don't really necessarily think that final reveal, it felt like very 2024 to me in a way that I don't think it needed to be there. I would love to hear your thoughts if you've been to watch it. But I loved the pomp and circumstance of it all. I loved the Catholicism, the red, the opulence, the internal politics. It was just so smart. So if you are on your way to the cinema soon, it's very like cinema season for us at least, cozy weekend activity, then I really, really highly recommend Conclave. I really, really enjoyed it. I knew I would, because The Two Popes is one of my favourite films of all time, so maybe I'm just a lover of Pope-related content. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I also wanted to show you 2 books that I picked up at the secondhand bookshop, because I went book shopping with my friend Amy, which some of you might know. She goes online by Written in the Fly Leaves. She recently has moved to the Netherlands, to a different city, but she came up to Amsterdam for the day, and it was so nice. We had lunch, we chit-chatted. I've met her before, but now we're living in the same country, which is really fun. And I took her to Used English Books, which is my favourite secondhand bookshop in the city. There were so many books I could have bought, but I came away just with 2, and 2 short ones as well. I got The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. This is like one of the first and most popular intergenerational family sagas, and I'm really in the mood to dive back into that genre. It's like very cozy to me, very comforting, because it's pretty formulaic, and I wanted to go back and read some of the backlist titles from that subgenre. And I know so many people love The Joy Luck Club, and they love the movie of it, so I thought that was perfect. And then I picked up this, The Mission House by Caris Davis, obviously with Conclave on my mind. This is a book about religion. It's a novel following Hilary Bride as he takes refuge in a South Indian mission house next door to a presbytery where the padre and his adoptive daughter Priscilla live. As Hilary's friendship with Priscilla grows, so do the religious tension and nationalist tensions around them, and the mission house is no longer the safe haven they thought it would be. I remember lots of people talking about this when it first came out. It's probably a few years old now, published by Granta, who's a press I really enjoy. And I think it will be brilliant, so I picked that up secondhand. And then knitting wise, I wanted to show you, I did finish I wore this when I went to see Amy, and she said it was very Moomin Troll coded, so I'm dubbing this my Moomin Troll hood. So I finished it. It's probably better if I just show you it on, to be honest. It doesn't really go with my red cardigan, but you can see how cool it looks. I didn't do any edging on the scarf portion, and even though I blocked it, it is still curling, so I kind of regret that, but because I wanted it to be a bit wider. But I'm not really going to go back and add an I-cord or anything. I think I'm just going to leave it be, and I really, really love it. It's really, really comfy and cozy to wear as well. And then I took a quick detour to make a little baby hat, which I don't know if you can see this well enough. It's tiny, just a 2x2 ribbed baby hat. I don't follow patterns for these, they're just made up. The scarf hood is also self-drafted. Tom's friend here in the city had a baby recently, and so we're going to see them in a couple of weeks, and I thought I would knit up a little hat for them, because I was chatting to my friend who I knit like all the baby stuff you ever see me knit is for my friend and her baby. And so I was chatting to her about what she's enjoyed like the most out of what I've made, and like what works best for what age of the child. And so we went to, she said a beanie is really good for when they're really small, and then the bonnet for like 6 months onwards. So I went for this in a nice green and blue stripe. This is Drops Extra Fine Merino, the superwash version, so they can put it in the washing machine. And yeah, I think it looks really cute. So that's been my knitting, and yeah, I'll get back to you hopefully with a new vlog soon, because there's some big life changes and exciting things happening. So hopefully I'll be leaving the house a little bit more and coming up. See you guys next time. Bye.